The great went and T. We got a big, exciting week this week. Lots of shows, lots of content, lots of fish. And we're going to start things off the way we normally do on Tuesday night with the Wook Club. It's fun. We're going back to the front. So what is this? This was 2/3/91, so almost a year after the show we did last week. Pretty solid show. I'm really excited to talk about it. But before we get into the show, I just want to do really quick our list of plugs. Easiest way is like and subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll get notifications because there's a lot of shit coming up. But I'll go over real quick. Tomorrow we're bringing back the lot before Mexico kicks off, 7 o'clock Eastern, and then 15 minutes after Encore each of the nights we will be live with a recap and discussion about the shows. For members, any of the nights that have set breaks, so the last 3 nights, we'll be having a set break hang. If you're not a channel member, just hit join on YouTube and you can become one. I think it's like $2 or $3 a month, but we'll be hanging out with the members. And then Sunday, we'll be back in the morning at 10 a.m. and we'll be recapping all of Mexico and have a fun guest then. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Oh boy.
You want to give big picture what your takeaway just overall from this show? I like that. Before we get into the
Amazing.
nitty-gritty.
Amazing to me how much they grew in a year. They sounded like a bar band in 90. In 91, they sounded like a band that was ready to make the jump to theaters.
Yeah.
And to carry on with that point, Kev, they only played this venue 3 more times after this show. So it's almost like the next step, right? Like there was the next night after this show and then 2 shows in May, and then they were done playing this venue, a place that they had played a ton early on. So, and to your point, yeah, it was quite a leap in a year. Again, 141 shows or whatever it was in that span, or a little over that in that span of time. So practice.
You could feel a ton of potential energy, ready to explode out of the band listening to it. So much of the music I feel like was really starting to lock into what it would ultimately be, a lot more than even the year before. Like a lot of the songs had found their identity, although some of the jamming wasn't quite evolved yet, right? So it was still at that precipice of like not quite there, but just ready to explode, like just a box of dynamite waiting for the match to fall. All right, let's get into the first set because this set was pretty dope. Yeah, I agree, Essie. The other thing about this was the quality. Actually, both recordings. So I guess this was tape and the soundboards last week, but the quality was top notch. Sounded really good. Got better actually throughout the night. Kick things off with the strong Runaway Jim. I love that way to start a show. I think it's a solid intro.
Still kind of fresh. It was about a year old, I guess, and it wouldn't show up on an album till Rift in 90, or no, it didn't show up on Rift, but I always associated with Rift that and Curtain,
yeah, around that time,
because they did studio versions of them. It could have been on Rift, but I guess ultimately it's the one song that really wouldn't have fit into the story.
I mean, just right out of the gate, different than a year before, right? Like we opened with Contact a year ago. We opened with a much faster, raging, like jump right into the show, Jim in this one, which kind of set the tone and kind of just was, the whole set was a little bit bigger than the year before too. Kind of like you have some of those jams in there we can talk about, whereas that last one we talked about, nothing really got there, and it was just sort of played at these times. And this one, they finally started doing it a little bit. And I think this Jim set up the night nicely. It was a good way to open.
Yeah, it sounded more. I don't know how to say without like sounding kind of like a dick, but like they meant like they were supposed to be there, like they belonged there, like they were, you can tell when you hear a band and like, oh, that's like a pretty good garage band versus like that's a really pulled together band. And I felt like at this point they were really pulled together. The Guelah was fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
Mike,
third one ever.
Yeah.
I can't believe how good it sounded that early on. And Mike was fucking locked in. The whole band was locked in.
Mike's bass sounded so good on this recording, but especially on the Guelah.
Well, and I thought Paige in there too at the beginning and through it sounded great too. Like it was a really, really nice version of it. And to your point, a third time played, and then they played it the next night at this place in the second set after Jim again. Like they didn't open with it, but they played Jim the second set and then played this after Jim in the second set. So
It's
getting it out there.
You know, we talked about this a lot during the summer tour, especially like in contrast to Dead and Company and the how many songs they repeat and stuff. And now it's like there's almost like this, you know, unspoken rule that you have to keep. I mean, granted, some of it's because they just have such a bigger catalog and they want to get so much more in. But ever since like the Bakers and like late 3.0, there's been this like pressure to not do things back to back and to spread things out. And I feel like the things aren't as like maybe it suffers a little bit, right? Like you lose some of that tightness, you know, that you would get from playing things in such heavy rotation, right? Because like it definitely benefited then doing it each night over and over again.
Right. In 90, I saw 3 shows 3 nights in a row, and they opened with Landlady at all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's not. I mean, even said, you know, after we're going to play some new songs tonight, and this was one of them. So, like, they're even getting those new songs into the rotation of a lot of these that had been new over the last 2 or 3 years, you know. And to your point, Tim, there's such few songs in the rotation that look at the encore tonight, right? Like, you're getting a Jesus and a Black Furry Creature from Mars.
That
like
was so cool, though.
It's awesome. It's fantastic. But
great.
again, that selection of songs is narrowed down, so you like get these great things thrown in there every now and then.
When Trey said we're going to play a bunch of new songs, they only played one other new song the whole night.
It was like Chalk Dust, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, new-ish though too, right? Like some of them were new-ish. I mean, listen, like they still didn't get where they weren't old hat yet by any means with some of them.
Right. I mean, they were all kind of new at that point.
But as for like, right out of the gate and off the new album or whatever.
I mean, like, I think, I mean, obviously Golgi is from 86, but, Mango's song, Esther, might have been the 289 songs. I think most of them were after 89.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
within 2 years. So that's like now just Sigma Oasis, right? Like you still consider Sigma Oasis new. And all those
Sigma Oasis came out in 2020, dude. That was 4 years ago.
That's my point. Is that fucking older
it feels
further
new,
from
though.
than those two? God damn it, Kev. Let's move on.
Kev.
It's gonna be a long ass week. We have like 8 shows this week together, and he's already trying to piss me off.
He's already coming at you.
My Sweet One was so fun. It had a couple extra bars in it. They got a little bit, type 2 for half a second. It seemed like I really
it's
like
1.5, but I always like that. FRONT is wild on that.
Here's a song though that they have put. Like I think almost every single one of our listens has
every single show we've listened to in the Wook Club has had it.
Has had one, right? So I think that just shows you right there how much this song's been played and is in their like zone in their repertoire, even in the early 1.0 days. I mean, this song was everywhere. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, benefited greatly from it. I really, really dug this Tweezer. The jam. So I don't know. I heard I was reading some reviews on this show, and like people were like, "Oh, don't start a Kev crew. What the fuck."
I like this one. Shit? I like this. Let's just feed him.
Yeah, I agree.
Start a GoFundMe for Kev's beer.
Some people were saying that like the Tweezer jam was very just boring, chromatic, like repetitive for what they did. And I guess if you listen to a bunch of them in a row, like from that time period, they were very of the same thread. But coming from a modern context and hearing the initial creativity and what they were trying to do with it rhythmically and how they advanced it, I like it a lot. I mean, I could see if that was all you got, it getting boring, but I almost feel the opposite now, where like the modern launch pad has gotten so repetitive, and I want it to be more raw and rhythmic and and fucking Mike was punching it, right? It has super punchy bass in the beginning, which sounded fantastic.
Right. The best Tweezer was the one recently with the Guy Forget in it.
You don't even remember which one it was?
My thing with this Tweezer, I really do love the early Tweezers, the raw, but how you just end the song like that? I mean, it really was like they were like, I guess we're done.
It was kind of it was definitely an odd ending to like it was a strange to go, and I don't think they knew how to go into Esther. Like, I don't think they could figure out the
Right.
the carnival play, like to get into it or whatever. So it just kind of like it was easy just to kind of full stop. And
Do you know that Tweezer Reprise didn't even exist when this show happened? I don't think it was debuted for another 3 or 4 months after this.
And see, they needed it. It was probably like after
That's
these kind of
why-
shows where they're
that's
like,
why
you
they
know
did
what?
We need a reprise.
I always figured they probably just started playing Tweezer a little bit different. Like, oh, that sounds cool. Now this is reprise. Just accidentally fell into it. I always forget, and maybe this is gonna make me sound like a noob, and like I don't know if I can explain myself, but I always feel like Destiny Unbound is a poorly
Skipping
executed
Esther
cover.
just
I know we just skip right over Esther, but that's okay.
Well, all right, fine, Esther. It's fucking creepy and cool. And what else do you want to say about Esther?
Well, what I will say is this: I'm impressed with how good and tight it sounded at this point. Like then, like it's really fun to listen to it with as much rawness. And we talk about things. This one sounded pretty damn good and pretty in the wheel, like in their rotational zone of like hitting this pretty tightly. It sounded great. I thought it was a really cool version.
I mean, I don't know. Some people are hate on it. I'm a big fan of Esther. Actually, Foam too. There's a couple of in that wheelhouse of
Love Foam. Those tough songs. And I mean, I can't even imagine, after these days, understanding the songs and knowing them and whatever you like getting them. But back then, getting this at the bar, again, a bar song. It's a weird song to hear at a bar. If you're bringing a friend, you're like, oh, come to talk about this band tonight. They play. You're like, I don't know about that Esther song. That was kind of weird. A little creepy.
I'm going across the street to the other bar.
Right, exactly.
I tell you what, Destiny Unbound though does sound it belongs in a bar. I think that's where that song should live.
But it doesn't sound like a FISH song. It sounds like they're like it's a cover song that they're poorly executing.
Cover or something. Or
right, but it's not. But it sounds like it is, and it's so weird. And I'm like, why would you write it in that register? Like he can't. It's not natural to him, but he wrote it there. Like he can't sing what he wrote.
It sounds so much better a couple years later as they play more, because this version, it just sounded so slow and clunky and like a country song. Like it sounded like a bad country song is what it sounded like.
Destiny
Unbound. I mean, I like the music of it. I dug the groove. I just didn't. I don't 100% like his singing on it. Okay, I get it. Like it's old news. I don't love his singing. But you know what I was thinking is, why was Trey never like, hey man, why don't we just modulate this down a couple steps? Like they're all great musicians. They could have done it on the fly. But then I was thinking with the whole Cotter and Ben thing, is like maybe that's what it takes to keep a band together for 40 years is knowing when to shut up and not modulate a song. And you're like, fuck it, let Mike sing. We'll be over it and we'll move on.
I feel like that it disappeared when it did in 92, maybe. I mean, it wasn't much longer after this that it disappeared, and it disappeared for a reason because they didn't think that it was a FISH song.
Yeah.
But then it became one of those songs that you chased, like everybody wanted to hear, even though they didn't like playing it, and it wasn't really that great of a song.
One of those songs nobody likes, but everybody chases.
Right. But since they never played it, you're like, oh my God, I gotta hear it. But I mean, I think it was still around for a few, because we got a few throughout the next couple of years. It was before it really like.
And then 2003, I was at that show and they brought it back, and people went nuts, and I was like, really?
That was like a Dix when they did Access Me or whatever, and people fucking went nuts. And I was like, wow, it just surprised
Chad is off the hook right now with the accusations. I don't know how I feel about this craziness.
I like it. I think it's great because you were giving me shit for becoming interested in Goose, and now I'm
well, it was funny because you were like, fuck the young ass band, and then like a couple weeks later, you're like, hey, listen, it was pretty good.
I was like,
it
was like the automatic play after one of our videos or whatever, and I got stuck watching. I was like, you know what, this isn't a bad song. I kind of like this one, and then you're like, and I was like, no,
they're in my head.
Get them out. No.
I liked that we got Reba. The beginning of the recording on this one was kind of fucked up, and I got nervous because last week the Reba recording, I was like, what the fuck? That's always the same thing. But luckily we got the majority of it we were able to listen to. And again, similar to Esther and really the whole set, it was a very clean version, really well executed. Pretty much everything except for Chalk Dust in the first set was where it needed to be. I think Chalk Dust was still too early on and wasn't really locked in yet, or they didn't feel it out yet. But everything else was fucking really spot on.
Reba was them writing songs, all the Lawn Boy songs they were writing towards being in theaters. Those songs fit really perfect in a theater. And then a Chalk Dust Torture, I feel like they were looking even further ahead and writing the arena rock songs because they saw that's where they were going to end up, even standing on the stage at the front. And I mean, third Chalk Dust ever, I think it shows exactly what
the fuck is going on here.
I think it shows exactly what's, all the potential that it would have, even though it was short and it was, a sketch almost maybe. But I feel like everything that it's become, you can see the seeds there.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't know that they waited though to write for arena because, like, I feel like the shit he wrote in college, like Wilson and shit, had an AC/DC bag. Like, he wrote arena songs from the beginning, but I think you're right that this was written with a bigger audience in mind.
Yeah, they've always had those like Axelas and stuff, those arena rock songs in their repertoire. And I think, but those songs also play great as you're coming up in the bar and in a small theater, right? Like, I mean, those are the songs that kind of blow the doors off that shit. So,
yeah,
talk about Goose. So, I mean,
that
Reba
they
was
played that one. They played that one so much. I think it was like every show for years they played Foam.
Which I didn't mind. I always like it. It's one of those, again, when it's a lot going on with it, and when it nails it, I think it's so much fun. It's a fun song. Odd in the bar, but a fun song.
I'm still getting all hung up on chat. I got to mute chat for a minute. Getting all I'm getting all distracted by the Kev love.
I feel like Foam is another one of those theater songs. That's where the sound of it and the intricacy, you can hear the little parts, when you get into a huge arena, sometimes that gets lost.
Yeah. I think that it's hard to play. Yeah, I think it's hard to execute on that level. And it's weird that some of these songs didn't go away. Because how they were talking about like Take the A Train and some of the other like jazz standards that they said didn't translate. The same thing applies to a lot of the Junta songs, right? But like, I guess because they're such big canon songs, like they have to try to keep them. It has an entirely different feel nowadays, though, versus how it sounded in the smaller room.
Right.
Golgi was huge. Golgi's another arena one.
Yeah.
And it felt really big in this setting,
The original acid rock dance record, Golgi Apparatus.
Great way to close it, right? And also like a good song for there. I think it again, one of those songs that rips in that setting. So I mean, you're stoked, you're like, yes. This guy's rip.
Sweet. All right. I am not starting a Goose podcast. I have no plans to at this time, just for the record. But if I do, I'll make sure to keep it separate from these shows.
We're going to do the After Goose after show and talk about FISH.
That's right. Actually, we'll talk about
trigger people though. If we start
that's
doing
when we'll talk
shows.
about Marvel shit. We'll get people there on the guise of Goose, and then
let's talk Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, we got to bring back Panels and Frames. I could talk for hours about just that one trailer. No,
we talk about Madam.
You know what? We might do the Goose thing. I don't know.
Can we talk about Madam Web? I couldn't even find a torrent of it. Nobody even bothered to go to the movie theater and record it and put it up anywhere.
I gotta say, I'm really happy about Madam Web because it felt like unity finally in the nerdom for the first time in years, because there's been so much turmoil and like strife. But everybody unanimously across the board was like, fuck that movie. That is a horseshit movie. And I was like, yeah, awesome. It didn't feel like political or anything. It was just a very badly executed movie. Like, all right, cool.
Well, in that zone, what do you think the chances are of it becoming like a cult B-movie classic? Because that's what they're saying. That is like
because Dakota's in it, and there's a bunch of
she's like a campy type actor.
Right, exactly. And it's just that whole thing and they haven't really had one that's like that, and this one kind of feels like give it a little bit and see what happens in a couple years and see where it's at. And
I feel like they're gonna pull another Morbius thing where like the fans trick Sony into like re-releasing it, like
right,
you know how they did that, but then it
Right.
bombs again. Anyway, we
Yep.
should keep moving.
Dave, I am
Club is just talking
concerned
about
with the-
comics from now on.
Dave, I am concerned with the steps at the Sphere. I am sure somebody is going to eat concrete at some point.
Yeah. Oh, so one more reminder, actually, before we get into this, tune into the lot tomorrow. We're gonna have some people over. It's gonna be a really fun thing. Lots and lots to talk about. So it's gonna be a really fun webcast. It's 7 though, so just mark your calendars or set your alarms. Normally we go at 9, but because PHiSH is at 9, we're gonna go at 7. So come
4
hang out with us for
Pacific.
the lot. I have a whole list of topics to talk about, and we probably won't even get to all of it, but you know. See, there's
Ooh.
people here. Our people. See, it's not as
See?
niche. We're in a niche. We're in a niche YouTube channel talking about other niche shit that's unrelated to this niche. It's like how isolated can we get? All right. I was thinking about you guys when this Bowie came on because it had the old school, fucking around doing. What is the name of that song? That like like the circus thing and
The
Mhm.
gladiators, entrance of the
oh, is that what
gladiators.
that's called? Yeah,
Yep.
and like you're like fucking around, and then you just have the hi-hat going, and it's like building that. Although
so
the
good.
drop into it kind of sucked balls. Like there wasn't that real tight, like
right.
with the drums into it, but I still like the buildup of it. And overall I thought it was a really good version.
Yeah, it was great. Like, and had the teases and the signals in it. Really fun, like in that. And this is one of those ones that you could see, to your point earlier, Cav, that this is really, you could see sort of 1.0 PHiSH emerging with this song compared to like what was before and like what was sort of there in a year ago. Like they've come out of the water, they've started walking now, right? Like they've evolved into like this next creature of like becoming the monster, the thing that they're going to be in 1.0. And I think this song really kind of showcased that in this show. I think this whole set did, actually, to be honest with you. This whole set blew me away, to be honest with you. And this is exactly one of the shows like I would listen to on a tape getting into PHiSH back then. And this is this is what made me fall in love with them, was every single song and the way it was played in this second set. And so I really connected with a lot of these and just thought they were so good.
Right. It's neat because this is the original secret language, and every time they played Entrance of the Gladiator, somebody would throw out a cue. It was stop, I think, with this one, but
yeah,
over time the secret language became something with the audience, but originally it was just an internal thing so they could learn. It was like a learning exercise live on stage while they were doing it. It's I've always been fascinated by it. Be a great data dive.
If only you knew how to animate data. Be fucking stellar. I'd fully support that.
Kevin, you could probably figure it out these days with AI.
Yeah, that's true. The Coil was good. It was kind of super comparable to the year before. I think that was one of those songs that was already kind of locked in, but sounded really good again. I was really having fun at the point of Landlady. I guess, I mean, it's just a fun song, but like, just give you like a thought of, or not to give you the visual, but like I was trying to get the baby to sleep and I was listening. I had the headphones on and I was rocking her during Coil and she fell asleep and I was laying. And then Landlady came on and I fucking like started moving and dancing with her. And I was like, fucking woke her up. I was like, God damn it. But I don't know. I love getting that.
Isn't it interesting though? Again, like last year, the Coil was 5 minutes. This one was 6 minutes, so we got an extra minute added onto it. Again, it was played in the middle of the set.
They've all been in the middle.
So so we weren't gonna we got the page ending, but we didn't get the walk off or anything. It went right into Landlady, which was a really cool like get back into it, right? Like it was kind of a cool move there.
The Landlady is I've always had issues with it. Only because you don't get a punch you in the eye. I got a tape with a Punch You in the Eye on it. And I was so excited to hear PHiSH play Punch You in the Eye. And that's when they dropped the song and started just doing the Landlady all the time. And every time I heard it, I was like, I wish they do Punch You in the Eye.
They brought it back eventually.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was and they played it. It was another one of those every night. In 91, if you look at the set list, like every time played, it's like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1,
Yeah, it's
1.
crazy.
Well, and how long was Punch back then anyway? Like what did it come in at?
What, how long was the song?
Yeah.
Probably around the length it was in 95 when they broke it back out, like 7-8 minutes.
So I feel like Landlady was the 3-minute version of that, right? Like they didn't have to play the 7-minute song and jam it out like that. They could just get in and out with Landlady and fill a little gap or fill a little hole there and jam, right? You know what I mean? As a filler or something like that almost, and not have to go all the way through it.
I'm going to go with the Punch You in the Eye is the best Gamehenge song.
Wow. No, that's not true. That's not accurate at all. I'm not going to tell you what the best Gamehenge song is because I don't want to get canceled.
You're going to say Lizards is what you'd say.
Yeah, and this is the guy that has the fucking army of fans now. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's I mean,
that's a
Punch
bold
is a good
statement.
song, but
just gonna let it hang there for a minute.
Oh.
Yes. Old school knows. The OGs know.
What the fuck is going on here?
Oh man.
Good. All right.
Another banger.
I don't think
even
it
know what
ranks
we're
as
doing.
the top of Gamehenge. We'll have to save that for another day, Kev. We'll have to have that discussion.
Let's bring
Maybe
that in.
we'll have
Let's
it
bring
tomorrow.
a lot in tomorrow with the best Gamehenge song.
Cavern. We were at Cavern, which is another great lyric story song from them. That's what I love is the story. I want a nice story in my song. I don't want to hear everything's right and my hair's falling out, you know?
And a silly story, man. It doesn't even have to be like, right? Like it's not a Hunter Garcia story with like Americana in it. It's a silly, stupid, fun, jammy story, which is what you want with PHiSH. So yes.
Yeah. It's a B-movie horror story, you know?
Exactly. Madam Web.
Right, Madam Web. It's the Madam Web of PHiSH songs. I really liked it. It was a solid version. I mean, what can you say about Cavern? He either gets the words right or he doesn't. Back then, he normally got the words right.
How the fuck do you even know if he gets her? I don't know all of the words. Like, that's crazy to me. Because, like, oh, he missed a word. I was like, how the fuck do you know that? That's crazy.
I guess I've listened to it so much when I'm singing along, I know what they are. And if he sings something wrong,
and you're never wrong with the lyrics, right? Like if Kev sings it the right way, it's them.
Wait, which is hard to believe because he messes up everything. It's like every guest.
I don't even think back then were the lyrics really written in stone anyway. I think he was still massaging them here and there. And who would know anyway? But like nobody had lyrics yet.
Right.
No idea what the fuck he was saying.
Oh, actually, the when Picture of Nectar came out in '92, it had all the lyrics in it.
That's right.
Yeah, except for Llama, it didn't have the to boot lyric. He didn't tell you what that word was they were singing.
To boot.
I feel like Kev is paying for this consistency of it. All right.
Influencers.
Yeah.
All right, Trey's
Mango?
first song he wrote by himself, I think.
Mango?
Completely by himself, the Mango song, and it came out in '89. That thing was kicking around for years.
Yeah, and you could tell it was really locked in. Very solid playing. No, you guys are talking about weird songs to hear in a bar. I would argue that this whole fucking set was weird.
A weird song to hear.
Like Coil, Landlady, Mango, Melt. Like that's none of those songs are like, oh, you know, but at the same time, it's as true to PHiSH and as authentic to PHiSH as you can get, but also as weird as fuck as you can get in like a random bar. Although in Burlington, I mean, I guess it's not that off.
this is like, Kev, what you would get though, right? Like we 93, 92, 93, when you were getting tapes from people, these were the sets that like you would listen to over and over again that were just like all these songs just kind of mashed together. The set list didn't make a lot of sense, but they had all the greatest hits in them
The hits, right?
that would be coming out.
That's
as
all
the
there
greatest.
were hits. They didn't have any clunkers. I mean, maybe
Exactly.
Destiny
Well,
Unbound, depending on how you
Destiny
feel.
Unbound, yeah, right.
So can we send a shout out to the guys yelling Harpua before Split Open and Melt, and then again before the encore yelling Timber? These days people would give them a hard time, but I'm like, you guys knew the songs, you were there. It was 1991, and you're yelling shit out to the band. Good for you.
Would people give them a hard time? I don't know if people give them a hard time.
Oh, if I yell songs out, people give me a hard time.
But that's you.
For sure. No, for sure.
I want to give you a hard
Can you
time.
imagine me on the rail yelling Harpua at Trey, you know?
Yeah, but what you're not telling people is you just elbowed some girl to get there.
It is great to hear it though. Like I thought the same thing, Kev. Like the real fans know the song, right? Like, because how many other people in there are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like what? You know, and it's funny to hear, and then to hear them go into what they Melt or whatever that they went into, or before, after it. So and then they started cheering anyway. So it's not like they didn't hate that song too, but it was just funny that to hear it, and
they were like, we want the Harpua.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty badass.
So how does the Split Open and Melt compare to the one? There was one last year, right? When the tape.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell because they're both not what they would become, but they were both fun, right? Like I enjoyed both of them. I wasn't like, oh, this is hard to listen to or anything, but it is, what it ultimately would become is so much grander and bigger and meltier. So it's kind of just like a light melt, like a diet melt.
Well, yeah, the one a year before was like 8.5 minutes, and this one was only 8 minutes, so it actually was shorter and tighter in that space
and safer too. I feel like they were just like not even wanting to go as far with. I felt like they went further with the Tweezer into the weird like raw chaos than they did with the Melt.
For sure. And Kev, last year they did play Harpua after Melt,
right?
So that would have made Fent like this year. So it's funny that he was screaming it then, and instead they played Bouncing after it, which good bar song. I think at that time it's a great song there for where it was.
This was also between this Melt and the one year before they released Lawn Boy, so it had also been gone into the studio and laid down in the the archival form that it would always exist on the album. So that may have influenced how they were playing it too.
Yeah, probably. That'd be an interesting thing. If you want to do some research, we should listen to a couple before that and a couple after that. Right? I think that's you're onto something there. Bouncing was still at this point, it sounded like enjoyed by the crowd. Nobody was moaning or groaning.
Fun song where you're at. Fun song, fun fish.
Especially coming out of like everything that they had leading up to it. I think it was a nice, fresh, refreshing, quick, clean song. And then going back into Okipa was kind of more traditional. But I like
and another Suzy. Didn't we get
Okipa Suzy? I feel like that's just over and over again.
Sets it up so well though. It's like such a great. It's almost like now you can't hear it and not think of having the Suzy in there. So it's funny. And what's funny is this one. Last time we talked about it didn't have the after I bet she's probably forgotten my name, and it just kind of had a little fill segment and went right into it. This one you finally had it. Fishman started being like. And like doing a little bit of the screams and a little bit more of the like character funniness in between those things. So you could see that starting to build too and starting to become what it would do in those sections. So that was fun to see the difference
more Suzy than the one the year before. Like it was definitely more locked in and more what it would become.
For sure.
Cool. Encore. I was not sure what they were going into because I didn't look ahead on the set list. I was just listening to it, and they were like playing around with it, almost kind of like a Dead-esque, like fiddling, when a shirt. And then when they kind of like took a left turn into like the bluesy, I was like, oh shit, that's sick. because I didn't expect it. It kind of took me off guard, but
They make
thanks to
ZZ Top
blues
proud.
like no one else.
Yeah.
They really have a great blues feel. I feel like that's underrated or not something that we talk about. Like we always talk about their funk and their jazzy stuff, but like just like good old bluesy rock, I feel like they can really hit it when they want
Paige
to.
sounded so good too.
Yeah.
Like it sounded so good for how young and like early on it was. And even the song at 9 minutes, I mean, that was a good long version of it. They really laid it down. I mean, Kevin and I always talk about Mayor and the Smoky Bar. This was like that feeling. Like this was a great show. Great.
I feel
song.
They
like
probably
Paige
were in
and
a smoky
PHiSH-
bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, especially Paige and PHiSH. I feel like those two like belong in a smoky bar, just doing like a quartet or a trio type thing.
Yeah,
It's like that's where they're that's where they're most
it's
comfortable.
great.
Yeah.
Great. And then just the punk rock funness of the end, like rock and roll ended on a fucking Kicky in the Nuts song. Like it's fucking awesome. I love it. Fucking great.
Yeah. Awesome way to end the night.
Totally.
I dug this show. I'm looking forward to hearing some modern PHiSH again. Like I like the contrast and mixing it up. It'll be interesting to see what we get for the next one. We've had a couple of early 90s shows. But next week, actually, for those of you who don't know, the last Tuesday of every month, we switch things up and we do a Dead Wook Club. So we are going to be doing a Grateful Dead show next week. Kev, you want to lay out what show we're going to do?
Yeah, it is going to be a show from 227 that happened 54 years ago.
Going in the
To the
time.
day. It's one I have never heard of. I looked up what Dead shows were played on this date. A bunch of them were meh. The set list for this has a heap of songs, like 30 tunes to it. So it should be fun.
Fuck yeah. Can't wait. That'll be fun. And what's nice is, Tim, to your point, we get to hear modern PHiSH tomorrow night. So it's like we get to go from hearing all of our like what we've been listening to in Wook Club to now finally getting a show and hearing them in the present and hearing some of these songs and what they've turned into. And then we get a nice break of a week off of the Dead show before diving back into
and then going back into some
more
old
PHiSH.
PHiSH. I
Yeah,
love it.
I think
It's
it's perfect.
awesome. I'm really excited about Mexico. I know like that's not what we do at the Wook Club, right? But I just want to say that like I hope everybody comes and joins us and like hangs out the lot in the after shows. But after New Year's and this break, for me personally, the hype, I've not been this eager and excited about a Mexico run in a very long time, just to see what they do. And I don't want to be like over, state expectations, like anything. But I can't help but recognize that I'm fucking excited about it. Like they played fantastic in New York. Like that's some of the best playing I've heard them do in years. And it's just, I want to keep it going. And I'm really excited to watch the shows and to get to hang out with all you guys and talk about it. So come hang out with us and check out the after shows and the lot. You got anything else, guys?
No, but I will take a note of the 4191 and maybe at the end of March, that's the one we'll do since two people seem to be interested in that.
Check that one out for sure.
Yeah.
A little Vince.
I'm excited to see what tomorrow night's all about. I think it's going to be fun as hell. Like it's what's the first show after Gamehenge? Like it's after you win a championship, right? Like what's the new season like? What do we do now? So I'm very excited to see where they go. So
See you on the lot.
See you tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Bye, everybody.